It's my pleasure to welcome Salomé Cousseau to On the Table. Salomé is a French artist who works between Paris and a studio in De Sèvres, about 250 miles southwest of Paris. Since childhood, which we'll hear more about, wood has held a significant place in Salomé's life, giving her an early introduction to the presence of wood by her father, a skilled cabinet maker, with whom she both experimented and developed precise techniques which have shaped her work as an artist, and which skills she continues to use today in the creation of her remarkable pieces. After receiving a diploma in applied arts and fashion design in Paris, she launched a line of contemporary luxury jewelry before focusing on sculpture. Salomé is inspired by natural plants and animals, as well as the history and craft of ethnic and antique objects and jewelry. Salomé considers wood a noble material, and she designs unique organic shapes using different wood species and then decorates them with what she calls jewelry, precious stones and metals that adorn her pieces in different ways. Salomé also travels around the world where she observes various techniques and traditions and can spend weeks or months working with other masters to learn their skills and forge what she learns into the evolution of her own work. I saw Salomé's work online several years ago and had the pleasure of meeting Salomé and seeing her work in person this past January at the Maison Objet show in Paris, a wonderful show. Salomé's work was more wonderful to me in person than on a computer screen, and we're honored to carry a number of her one-of-a-kind sculptures at Âme Attente. They are really worth going to the site to look at, and a huge shout out to MJ Kroger, our amazing photographer, and her team, Landon Kroger, our digital tech, and Christian Galliano, photography assistant, for capturing the essence of Salomé's pieces in Âme Attente's first full production photo shoot this past summer. And I am wearing one of Salomé's jewelry pieces, which she gifted to me, and I love so much. Thank you so much. So welcome, Salomé. And thank you so much for joining us on the podcast from Paris.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
You can find Salomé's pieces on our pieces on the Âme Attente website, and also at salomecousseau.com and on Instagram at Salomé Cousseau. And we'll put the spelling of everything in the show notes. Okay, so I love to start just going back to childhood. Can you tell us where you grew up and what kind of child you were, what you liked to do?
That's actually an amazing question because it's a very important part of my life. I grew up in a small village, small house, 2 little sisters, but I didn't have a childhood as most of other kids because I was a sick kid. Mm-hmm. So I spent around 6 or 7 years at hospital or with doctors or at home with my parents. My dad was working, but my mom couldn't. So I had a very slow and long childhood to me. But it was good in a way because it made me who I am, patient, doing things with my hands, because I could use only my hands when I was a kid. So everything was slow. Then I'm patient and I couldn't go out or play much with other kids. So my parents gave me a lot of things to make at home, in the kitchen, in the bedroom, downstairs in the studio. Was kind of a studio, but my dad was working for a big company at that time. So he built a studio, kind of studio. And we were just playing around and making stuff while he was building the house during the weekend.
Wow.
So I had a slow childhood.
Yeah.
Full of love. My mom was incredible. And that was fun. And even at hospital, I was making stuff with other kids. So that was cool.
It is amazing how our experiences shape us and turn us into, lead us down the path maybe that we're supposed to follow.
Yeah, but I'm lucky. I'm in a good health now.
Good.
Everything's good.
Very, very happy to hear that.
Very lucky.
Okay, well, can you tell us a little bit more about the influence that your father had on your work? I know he was a cabinet maker and brought you into his world and shared his love of wood. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Oh, yes. So he was working for a big company, but every weekend he was building the house. They have special taste, so they wanted to make their own stuff. Everything, every piece in the house is handmade. And every year we helped to do everything. And during my studies, I was always doing stuff. I preferred to do that compared to writing my ideas. That was annoying to me. I wanted to make them. And I left the house for my studies. And when I left the house, he built his own company. I think he was waiting for me to leave before he go on, you know. And so when I left, I saw him building his own company, and I wanted to do the same. It's very tempting. So I did. After my studies, I was an employee in a big company for almost 2 years to have money and make a living. And when I did great, I spent a lot of time with my dad. I went back to the countryside every weekend or every 2 weekends, and he taught me what I needed to know. I had ideas. I didn't know. I did know how to use the tools, but I didn't know how to use which one went for what. So we developed techniques. It was for jewelries at first, and 7 or 8 years after jewelries, I wanted to do the opposite. And then we did it again. I went there many weekends, and we worked together to build techniques. But he's always helping around if I have questions. He's not touching my little stuff; it's scary for him. But he's always helping for with big machines or advices, everything.
And does he give you ideas for your work, or is it more the techniques and the skills?
Oh no, he doesn't give me any ideas. For him, it's too abstract. He's a straight man, kitchen, furniture, chairs. No, no, no. But on machines, materials, and very precious advices. And how do you say? He finds stuff very difficult to find because he knows a lot of people around.
Yeah.
And I can have old tools, old techniques, or little internship.
Yeah.
And especially I can have a crazy piece of wood.
Yeah. We'll talk more about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know sometimes you find the wood on your property,
Mm.
um, but actually maybe you can tell us now a little bit more about what I know you use different woods, and I know they have to be sturdy enough so that you can carve them.
Mm.
And we'll show also, some of your pieces within the podcast so people can see, but they really should go to the Amatan site or to your site and look at more of them. So I know
Lovely.
that you use different woods, and so there has to be some property of strength, but do you just experiment with different woods to know what will work? Because I know they have different colors and I'm sure different textures, and some are
Mm.
probably easier to work with than others, but you must want to work with different species for different reasons. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, yes, with pleasure. I'm the picky one. They don't like
Okay.
me when I go to the shop. They don't. It takes always at least an hour, even if I send them emails before. So when I have the chance to find big wood inside very old studios, men are 80, sometimes 90, and they get rid of it because they don't work anymore, and they want to know who's going to have it.
Yeah.
So I always take the big pieces. It has to be dry without any branches. Can I say?
Yeah.
Owls or beast eating it because
Yep.
it was very usual before. So big piece, no default. Heavy piece, not fragile and that you can break easily. No, no, no.
Yeah.
I have few type of wood that I really like. They can be the opposite, and you say some wood are easy and some are difficult. They can be both at the same time.
Hmm.
Like the lemon tree is very difficult to cut and sculpt, but when you sand it, it does obey. It obeys what you want. Not easily, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But I love it also walnut that you have to.
Yeah.
Easier to cut and sculpt, but to sand it's wow. I'm
Very hard.
sweating a lot when I do that. And some of the wood are very I feel it's like greasy, oily.
Okay.
You touch them, you have nothing, but the texture, the movement, it makes you slow because it's kind of greasy. So it depends on each wood. I choose them by the color, by the size. The size is very complicated because I always want to use dry wood, then it won't move an inch
Yeah.
when it goes somewhere. But to have it in a big size, it has to be a big tree cut a long time ago, very well preserved, not too much humidity, cold, hot, blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of expensive first. And sometimes, because it's very expensive, even for the seller, that they
Yeah.
don't even have it.
Yeah.
So they have to call other people to check who has what. When I wanted to buy the lemon tree, the big one, I waited like 6 months to have one piece.
Wow. Yeah.
Because, I mean, and we are in France, small country. So we deal with it.
And do you collect wood so that you're preparing for the pieces to come? Are you constantly collecting pieces of wood?
I'm constantly collecting them.
Yeah.
And some people, they cut trees. I have, I think, 3 trees. I've been having them for maybe 3 or 4 years. I have to wait more and more
Yeah.
to have it very dry. All the time, even sometimes in a very old shop, in kind of a flea market, you can find a very ugly but very big table. Sometimes I buy it.
Yeah.
Like the wood.
Yeah.
It's made with a very good wood.
Yeah. 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 You
Yeah,
have to find it where you can find it.
yeah, exactly.
And we'll get into your travels a little bit later, but when you travel, do you look for wood when you travel and bring it back or not?
No, I cannot. I travel with one big suitcase, bigger
Okay.
than me. So no, I never bring back wood, but I bring back souvenirs and sometimes tools when I can.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, and we'll talk more about that because I want to talk
yeah,
about the skills. I
yeah.
want to get back to, so you said that your father is kind of a straightforward man, like he makes chairs and cabinets and tables. And you said your mother is very loving.
Yes.
Maybe she has a creative side, but where do you think your creative side came from and what led you to jewelry design and then sculpture? So the more artistic side of sort of what your father's doing.
Yes, but first I had a lot of time to think, to be with myself in my life.
Yes, when you were
Which
young.
yeah, and I'm doing it every day, every week right now. It's kind of a habit that I need to spend time with myself. I'm
Yes.
so used to it. So
Yeah.
I'm a little bit lonely in a good way. It's need to be alone. And I was always encouraged to think of what I want and do what I want. That was the rule at home. You think, you know yourself, you choose, and you do it. Even if it looks crazy or if it's different, you just do it. You give everything you have to do it. They also have good taste because the house, then it's a small one with not so much money, but it looks very good. They have good taste and they are a bit originals, I think, compared to other parents' place. Um, and my studies, I mean, everything was allowed. When you study art, they gave me books, access to some museums, history, everything. And I studied fashion, but I thought first to go in architecture. And then I decided to do jewelry. So I had a look at a lot of things. I spent days in libraries, and I think I'm always looking at stuff. That's bad. I'm trying not to stare, but sometimes I do stare. It's bad. I think I need to.
We call it observing. I think it's fine.
Thank you.
So,
So, yeah.
okay, so you in art school, so one, when you were young, you had a lot of time to spend by yourself and sort of, I would say, know yourself maybe better than many people know themselves.
And do
Um,
this thing all the time.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
do things.
yeah. And then you also, because you were alone a lot, you built your own things and played with your things
Mm.
yourself. And so that probably contributed. And maybe there's something just innate, like something that comes from your genes. I don't
And
know.
I think
Uh,
every artist has something that we can't explain. We decide on the shape or colors, and it's just something that we have to let it go out. You know,
yeah, to give to the world is the way that I think about it. Yeah.
we
And
don't control everything. I think.
And your so to me, your shapes are very organic
Mm,
and so when I read that nature and animals sort of influence you, that
mm,
makes sense to me because I
mm.
I see that and I feel that in your pieces. Um, do you get like thoughts for them when you're sleeping or when you're walking? Do you sketch them or how do you come up with the shapes?
Uh, I think it's a process because I'm always looking at stuff. When you say animals, it's a nice way to put it because I love to see organs of animals in museums.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Fascinating. The the shape of organs and the texture of the skin of the organs,
Mm.
they are incredible. I'm gonna sound crazy, but I love this museum next to my apartment. And so you look at stuff, you digest them, but you don't even notice that you're doing it. When I don't have time to do it, I miss it. I need to take the time to maybe do nothing and see, look at
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
But ideas, I don't sit and think of ideas. It just sometimes it's like how do you say, like a kid who wants something right now. Uh, a bad kid that's gonna make a scene. I need to draw something. I have an idea, or I have a feeling, or in my head I have an idea of mixing shape and stones or colors, or it's just come. Sometimes it's in the middle of dinner. I
Yeah.
excuse myself, like, so sorry. Be back in two. I always have a small notebook in my bag.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. It looks bad inside, but I understand myself. So
Yeah, exactly. That's how my desk is, by the way.
yeah, oh, good. Good.
Um,
So
well,
no,
you
it
talked
can any time.
so that makes sense to me. And it's sort of like people say, keep a notebook next to your bed because sometimes it's like you're dreaming and you think of an idea, and if you write it down, you won't remember. If you don't write it down, you won't remember it. So
Yeah, wait, I can forget sometimes if I don't.
yeah, yeah, I think that
Because it's
that
more
happens.
as like a feeling than a real idea.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense to me. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about what your work means to you and what drives you as an artist? And then maybe we can talk about your travels, but I'd like to
Mm,
sort of pause and hear about that because I do feel like it feels like what you were taught, which is wonderful in your house, like think for yourself and do what feels right for you. But still, to choose this path is more unusual than not, I would say. And I think it's something you really have to want to do because it's hard. It's hard to get started in something that's brand new. It's hard to find the materials and learn. And then it's hard, and we'll talk about this later, but I imagine it's hard to sell your work and make a living doing it. So I'd like to just hear a little bit about sort of where the inspiration came from, what you get from it, how it defines you, all of those things.
it's a lifestyle. Uh, my job is not my life, but my life is with my job. Uh, I hope I'll be able to do it as long as I can. I won't be able to make them all my life. I'm gonna have help, of course,
Right.
because it's too difficult for my body. But I organize my life around my work, and sometimes the other way around. It's not something I have to do. It's not I have to go to work. Just me being here every day doing my own stuff. It's normal. If I work on weekend or late at night, it's just I'm having a nice moment in the studio. I'm just not out today. I'm doing my life. People like to watch TV. I never had any TV. I I'm just doing stuff all the time.
Yeah.
I don't cook, so I have more time to do stuff. um, it's everywhere. Yeah, it's a lifestyle. I I really hope I'll be able to do it all the time. And it was hard, but not that hard when you don't know what you can do other than that. It was obvious that I will have to do that. So some part of my job are difficult, like going out, showing what you did, what you made, because it's kind of very private, especially since I
Yeah.
work at home because I want to.
Yeah.
I really want to work at home, mixing everything. I'm good at separating when I need to. Um, Selling, I'm lucky because since I'm making very different things compared to what we can find sometimes, I'm lucky. First time I showed them, they went to other houses. Clients loved it, and I don't sell everything all the time. Not at all, not at all. But I did make a living first time I exhibited.
That's amazing.
I don't have a fancy life, but I have a good life for me. I have
Yeah.
time to look for stuff, to buy what I want, beads, metal, wood, and work on it, and travel once or twice a year. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that that's what I don't want to spend my time outside traveling and do nothing. I want to do stuff, so I need time at home,
Yeah.
and I have it. I
So
exhibit once a year
when you
usually.
say you didn't have a choice, that you obviously had to do this, can you talk a little bit more about that? Like, when did you know I'm going to be an artist?
At the end of my studies, I had ideas, a lot of ideas, but I couldn't do anything. No time, no money, no tools, nothing. Like, go get a job and pay your rent. Because I left my parents when I was 19 and I went to Paris to finish my studies. Then I went to London to learn English because I was really bad at it. A real French woman. Sorry, French. And then I came back and get a job, pay my rent. Job was good, people were good, but I was so sad.
Yeah.
I was very sad. Even if I was doing things, it wasn't for real. And just for fun with what you have under the table, no, 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 that wasn't enough. I needed to do good stuff, precise stuff for long hours to, yeah, to be serious about it. So as soon as I was able to quit, I did it. I prepared my job while I was having the other job. So I think for 1 year, I worked 70 hours a week. I didn't care. And then it was ready one day and I just go.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Because I was sat there, even if the job was good.
Yeah, we have to
Yes,
do what makes us happy or content. I'm not sure
yeah.
what the right word is, but
It was
fulfilled,
risky.
maybe. Yeah.
It was very risky at first. Being on my own in a big city, selling stuff that nobody know about. But I just did it. That was fun. That was okay. I always paid my rent. Yeah.
And how did you, so the very first, so once you left your job and you started, you had these ideas, you got the tools, you made your first sculpture, or I guess it was jewelry at first.
Right. First, yeah.
How did you first, did you go to something like Maison Objet at first, or how did you
No.
go to sell your work?
Maison Objet was way too expensive for me. I
Yeah.
was 23, almost 24 when I started. I quit my job in a big company, big fashion company, and I was exhibiting at small market in Paris. It was around Christmas, and I remember a tall, curly hair lady came. She was young, very young. She was an intern for a trade show kind of Maison Objet, but it's called Première Classe
Okay.
in Paris. Yeah. She was an intern organizing a contest. And she just told me, hey, cool, just send an email here. Hi, bye bye. And then I sent this email. and they invited me 3 times to exhibit there. And in less than 6 months, the show was 2 months after the email address. So I had to prepare everything. I exhibited in one of the biggest show in Europe, I think. So that was stressful. And then I was selling jewelries to big shops
Oh,
all
wow.
around the world. Yeah, small quantity. I was young. I still have 2 hands. So it was the beginning. And then I opened an e-shop website, which was something more than 10 years ago. That wasn't easy, especially when your job is to cut wood.
Yeah.
Opening a website was a real challenge. So yeah, I started on Etsy. You know the
Okay.
website? Yeah, that was
Yeah.
the only way to sell online more than 10 years ago for us in France.
So, how did you decide to stop doing jewelry and start doing sculpture?
Uh, Jewelry became a little bit bad for me, and then I took it as a chance. I started to sell a lot online, a little bit too much for one person, but which is good. It's a good problem. But I always wanted to stay alone in my job. I can ask some friends or people to help for little things sometimes, but my job is to do things, not to handle people, not to give orders. So I wanted to stay alone and I had too much work to do. So I decided to shut it down a little bit, stop selling a little bit, and having good time in my studio because I was always doing same drawings every day, every day, every day. So I took the time and the money to do something for myself. And I had ideas about unique pieces, necklaces. But when you like stones and wood and metal, you have one problem. It's that everything is too heavy all the
Mm.
time. And me, I'm always buying stuff from all around the world. I have so many jewelries that I put them on walls. But at one point, it's too much. So you need to make something to put on the table or on furniture. And I was like, I do have time to do something that's going to stand on the furniture. Very heavy, as I like it. Very complicated. And I wanted to use my hand more than I do on the jewelry. Jewelry is usually not the one you're wearing. This
Yes.
is very handmade with my hands.
Yes.
Sometimes I use the machine to cut the wood and work on it as people who they work on stones. Same technique. And I wanted to do the opposite. I wanted to sand it, to touch it for hours. So I decided to go back to the countryside, spend weeks there, and try new things just for fun. And I was able to do that 1 or 2 days a week for more than a year, just for fun, just what I like. No one to show, nothing, just for me. My time, my money, my hands. That's a really big privilege for me to be able to do that because I was never able to have free time like that. And I used it to make what I wanted without really knowing what I wanted. But I did the most complicated I could.
And then
That's
you decided you wanted to do that all the time.
um I was scared at first because it's very difficult for me to make sculpture all the time. It's very physical.
Mm.
I have to be in a good shape. So I had to think twice about it and how I can manage to do it. But yes, first year I was doing it in secret at home. And after a year, I made like 9 sculptures. So I decided to exhibit. It was very small. I was a baby in there. But then it was a success. So I decided to cut my time in half. And I was able to do it just for the first year. And then I'm almost full time with sculptures. I keep my jewelries because I love them and I work on them few weeks, but not that much, and which
Okay.
is very good. And yeah, I had to think twice about doing it all the time because it's difficult,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I can do it, so it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
I have my
Uh,
technique.
Can you talk a little bit about the travel? So I know this summer you went to Bali for, I don't know if it was a month or how long, you can tell us. But so you said you travel once or twice a year. Is it always to work with an artist or sometimes just to observe? And when you do go work with an artist, do you plan that ahead of time? And how long ago did you start that? I mean, I can imagine what you get out of it, but can you just talk a little bit about that?
Yes. Sometimes I find artists that welcome me just to watch or to teach me techniques or spirits or materials. Just they welcome me in their workshop. So sometimes I go to some countries just to have a look because some people are more private. When you go to Japan, it's not that easy, for example, to go inside the studios. But we can have a look, which is always interesting. So yeah, I started to travel and put my feet inside their studios right before COVID, like 5 years ago. I stopped because like everybody had to, and then when it opened, I went back everywhere. So Morocco, Turkey, because it's easy when you're in Europe, England, Spain, Italy. Europe is easy for me, and I went to Japan, South Korea, Indonesia. Indonesia was really amazing. They are the best. They really are the best. Sorry for us and the others, but they really are the best. It was a crazy trip. I spent 15 days there. I took a week for me just to enjoy, have a look around. I traveled with scooters all around the island. And everything is interesting. Clothes, food, religion, everything. Jewelries, because they have ceremony jewelries. Amazing. Hard to find if you want to buy them. Almost impossible to find studios that can show how they make it. But if you ask people around and you wait a few days, you manage. And I spent 5 days in the countryside of Tegalalang. It's a well-known place with a rice view. It's after the mountain. You have a village. It's one street, 21 houses. And when you walk around, you always hear the sound of people sculpting, like everywhere outside, because they don't have any doors or windows. They just live outside. And I spent 5 days with a man. He taught me how to use tools, the story of the patterns, the influence of Asia, Russia, everything. They have very strong history. And yeah, 5 days on the floor. He's usually alone. I was with him. I'm usually alone. So that was a good experience, very quiet, surrounded by beautiful things because we worked on the floor of the gallery. They don't separate because they don't make dust because of the technique. So you can work everywhere, surrounded by beautiful things. No windows, nothing, just flowers and good smells. Yeah. So 5 days, I know how they do, but I'm not able to do anything. Everyone need like 20 years to be as good as me.
I'm sure.
Kids are doing this since they are 5. You can see small kids on the floor doing incredible stuff that we will never be able to do. It was an amazing experience. Yeah.
So when you say they're the best, is it because of the technique or the history or all of it?
Everything. Some people call this island paradise. It is. I wouldn't be able to live there. I love Paris, I love big cities, but it's kind of paradise. It's hot, not too hot. Food is good. People are nice. They make incredible stuff everywhere. You have flowers falling from trees on the floor all the time. Good music. It's They have good history, and the religion is very important to them. They share it. We don't understand everything. We don't have to believe or not believe. It's just they live like that. They share, they show, they dress so well. They are so kind. It's almost not possible here. If you try to do that here, you're going to have a lot of problems.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Everything was amazing.
So you learn some technique, although it's not something, of course, you're going to master in 5 days, but it
Oh,
absolutely has to have an influence on your
mm,
work. So
mm,
how can you talk specifically about that trip? And maybe it
mm.
even hasn't manifested yet, but how, if it has, or from past trips, like how is that influencing your work?
It did. It did. Um, I'm gonna learn again at home in at night to use the tools. I'm gonna need years, but I made three sculptures. They are not finished yet, not at all. Um, ins- I was inspired by ceremony jewelries. Women are wearing metal flowers in their hair. Very impressive flowers. I bought a lot from them. I brought them back, and I made some bouquet of metal. Can I say bouquet of
Yeah,
flowers?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
perfect.
So I made some maybe 200 flowers with patterns because I have new tools from them to put it on the wood like it's coming
Ah,
on the wood. Each flowers will have stones in the heart. So yes, I did make
okay.
3 months after I'm back. I did.
Well, hopefully we can get some pictures of those and we can put them
Yeah.
in the podcast.
For now, with Patafix, it's just stick on the
Yeah.
wood. It's a mess, but it's gold plate
We can also be patient. We can add them later.
in January.
Um,
January.
so how where do you get your metal and your stones? Are those from all over the world, or do you get them all in France?
Metal. I work with two companies in Paris. Very old companies. The shops are extremely beautiful. It's full of wood with small drawers. They
Mm,
it's very nice shops. I buy raw metal, so it's not that hard to find because I do the job after. I don't buy anything prepared already.
okay.
So this I buy it from France, Paris most of the time. Just a big piece of metal to make the base. From it's not from Paris but around, and stones from all around the world. I have one or two shops that I like in Paris. Women are here for more than 15 years, 50 years. So they sell a lot of things. But to find special things, I go to Sainte-Marie-aux-Mines. It's in the east of France. Uh, Three shows all around the world: Germany, France, and USA.
Mm,
Uxton, maybe. So three big shows in the world. We have one in France once a year. All of the sellers or worker on stones are coming really from everywhere, and they are selling, showing, taking orders, everything. So usually I go 3 days there and I see all of them and I buy. I go there with my suitcase and a big caddy, like when you go to the supermarket. We all have one there because it's heavy, and
yeah.
I everything from all around the world. Yeah,
Okay.
I work
Amazing.
with Indian, Americans, Germans, Arabic, everybody. They all
Yeah.
have their specialty. They are very good at what they do. So
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's
Yeah.
Saint Marie au Mines. It's a famous event here.
It sounds amazing. I think it would
Yeah,
be
it
fun to
is.
go. Yeah. Even if you're not buying something, it's probably fun to go
Oh
look.
yeah, it's open for everybody during the weekend. It's like a museum,
Yeah, it's
huge one.
amazing. Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about sort of the state of the world and art. So, do you feel that the world still understands what you're doing as an artist with your design, taking your time, slowing things down? in this age of social media, and now we're hearing about artificial intelligence generated art, and we all live such a fast-paced life. And I think there definitely is a trend of some people trying to slow things down,
Yeah.
but I'm curious what your experience has been, both in France and more generally in terms of like the reception of what you're doing and the importance of that in our world today.
It's a really good question because it used to be a fight. It used to be a real hard fight. And now it's a privilege. I was 23, little woman buying metal and wood. Who? I had to be unpleasant sometimes to have what I wanted, what I pay for. And people were not taking me seriously. She's having a little fun. She doesn't need to make a living, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, that's not that. And you have to prove yourself a little bit before people believe in you, which is not easy because you have to show some private stuff. It's hard. But years after, I feel like the past 10 years, people know better now. Maybe because they need to relax a little bit, which is a little bit sad if it's why they know better. At least it's good that they know and they go there. And no, people understand. Sometimes they envy my lifestyle. No, they understand, but to really understand the final result, of course, it's not everybody because you have to have a little bit of knowledge and how can I say? You have to be comfortable enough to have time to appreciate those
That's
things.
absolutely true. Yeah, that's
So
absolutely true.
we are a bit
Um,
privileged, I
yeah.
think. Yeah.
And I think it's on both extremes. So you have to have the time to learn enough to appreciate it
Mm.
and to have time to appreciate it. And on the other end, where people have maybe even too much, they may not appreciate what it takes to produce a work of art like you do.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times people don't really take the time to understand that either. You know, we
Yes.
have so much information at our fingertips with the internet, but people tend not to really dive into the details anymore. At least
Mm.
that's what I find. I hope that that is
Yeah.
starting to change. But
It is a little bit because those people, if I may say,
yeah,
I'm glad because sometimes I meet them. They hire people to choose well the pieces they will have. So if they don't have the time or if they don't want to know, they hire someone to do it properly, which is very good.
yeah, okay. However it gets out in the world is good. And as long, the more people who get to experience your art and all art, I think, is
Mm.
better. I mean, in France, you have so many amazing museums. You have so much amazing history. Um, so maybe in France, people have just a better appreciation. Do you think that that's true?
Uh, I don't know enough people around the world to have an opinion,
Yeah.
but I think at least I know that it's part of our education to respect and take care of things. It's actually allowed. We have a duty of preserving it. If you find something on your property, you have the obligation to take care of it and give it back to the government. You cannot throw it away. It's really bad for us. It's
Yeah.
part of our education. Um, Having a handy job was bad for years because computer was better, marketing and blah blah blah. But for 10 years now, we are missing some people to do the job, and now uh, they put more value in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either you do something useful or useless. If you do something with your hands, it's becoming more and more um, well. How do you say?
Appreciated, maybe.
Thank
Appreciated?
you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's lovely to hear. That's good to hear. um, so we've talked we've talked a lot about your work, but my experience with your work is that it feels both old and new. So it's new in the sense that the shapes and the forms are not forms that I have seen before. Um, and the way that you put the stones and the metalwork, I haven't experienced that before. And again, I really encourage people to look at it because it's so beautiful. And it's also old to me in that I feel like your pieces have a soul. And I remember my parents telling me when I was young, like I was an old soul. Like I've always loved spending time with older people and learning and just maybe slowing down a bit is something that I've always appreciated. Although there was a time in my life when I was going much too fast, which probably we've all experienced. But I really do feel like your pieces have like a soul to them. And there's and when they're in a room, it just you feel the energy from them. So to me, it's like very calming and peaceful. So I guess my question is there anything that when you're making them, you hope people will feel, or is it just they'll feel whatever they feel? You have like this inspiration and you want to create it.
Oh no, there is a feeling that I hope they will have. It's a warmness. Can I say that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Warmness. I'm surrounded by antiques, a lot of antiques in my apartment. Um, it belonged to many people before me. Now they are with me. I don't know if they are mine, but they are with me. My apartment is very warm. Objects are part of my well-being in here, and I hope people, when they have a piece from me, it will be with them every day, warm and quiet and soft, some tenderness.
Yeah.
Even if it's
I
very
definitely
old to
feel
me.
that. Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Be- and that's the final touch when I make them. It's noisy, it's dirty, it's hard. But the final touch when I put the chain on the beads, to be honest, I'm always in my pajama at night, with two lights, some music or books in my ear, and I'm just spending very good time putting all those beads on.
Yeah.
It's very soft, very tender. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I mean, like I said at the beginning, like the first time I saw a piece of your art was on a website, another website, before I met you. And I just was immediately drawn to the shape because it was so different. It just was something I hadn't seen. And it just was such a good feeling, a good feeling. And I like warmness and all of these other words too. But I think that the more we can surround ourselves with things that make us feel good and warm and calm, I personally believe it can sort of get into us and then we can bring it out into the world,
Oh, yes.
which is a big part of the goal of my company. So,
Oh, you
so,
do it well.
well, thank you.
Yeah, but feeling good at home with the one you love. Oh, if everybody has the luxury to feel that well, oh,
Yeah.
everybody will be so nice outside and helping each other,
Yeah.
sharing. Yeah.
Well, we can try. We can work on it, right?
Yeah, we are. We are.
Every episode, usually discuss products from Almatond. I have not had a chance to send you your products yet, so I'm hoping that we'll update the show notes and maybe put some pictures in later. And, so that will come later. But I do want to, at the end of every episode, I ask the same 5 questions to my guests. So I would love to do that with you. And the first question is actually coming back to objects. So as we explore in my brand, Amatond, objects can hold a lot of meaning for us and they can tie us to the past. They can enable us to enjoy the present moment or even bring us, I think, into the future. Can you share an object from your life, whether it's something you have now or not, that holds a lot of meaning for you, and tell us why?
I do have one very big, almost the biggest in my apartment, is my sofa. My sofa is a Chesterfield in leather, and my parents bought it after the wedding. It was expensive for them, first gift expensive that they bought. And it's too small now for the house. It's too old. They were tired to look at it. I've been having it for 8 years, maybe, and I love it. It's full of memories because we spend time in it. My mom taught me how to take care of things because it's fragile. You don't put your shoes on, you know, your nails, your jewelry. No, you don't do that. You just take care of it. You nourish. You put milk on it
Yeah.
very often. And since I never relax, I'm always in my studio. And when I'm done, I'm outside. When I sit in here, it's a very private moment in their sofa. So yeah, this is my favorite, even if I don't use it that much. That's why it's all well preserved.
And
So, yeah.
and even if you're not using it that much, it's still there and it's also part of you. So I
Yeah,
love
and
that.
one small seat because it's in two parts. When I had my studio, it was 21 meter squares, very small. I still have had one big sofa in the small apartment. I don't know why. It's family.
Yes, yeah, it's
Yeah.
family. Okay, can you share a favorite tradition with us? It could be something from when you were a child or something that you do today. It could revolve around food or a recipe, although you said you don't cook, or some place that you go. So, what tradition
Um,
can you share with us?
a very important tradition. I don't have it every day because I'm without my family in Paris. They live a little bit far away. It's dinner. We are all a little bit independent. We all have our habits, sport, jobs, but all the time we have dinner together. It's important. It doesn't take 3 hours, just an hour, and everyone has time to discuss, to make a little recap, to listen to the others, take care. That was something very important for all of us. And when we have the chance to go back, and if we can be there together, we all do and take every dinners together. That's something very important. It's traditional thing. But if I put that aside, I have no tradition, and it's important for me to not have any. Since I had many years when everything was organized and, handled minute by minute, now I don't even wake up at the same time every day. No, I never set a clock. I don't have tradition. I want to feel free,
Mm,
even if I do a lot of things and I work hard.
yeah.
But still, it can change every time.
You think
It's
that that's because of your childhood? Because your childhood was so regimented.
Yeah, and I grew up in a white environment, so nothing is white in here.
Yeah.
It's forbidden. It is forbidden. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, okay. Well, I know you don't cook, but are you in a phase in your life where you enjoy entertaining in your home, and why or why not?
I like it. Yeah, I receive friends. I have a partner who cooks, so it's convenient.
Perfect.
It's perfect. Everyone has this quality. Cooking is not mine. So yeah, I like to receive people. People are always coming to see sculptures, but more jewelries too. And I have friends coming to have dinner because since I live in the center of Paris, I'm right in the middle. It's the happiness apartment. We call it like, let's meet at Salomé's. So yeah, I always have people coming. And we have little food because when he cannot cook, we eat what I can prepare, even if it's not fancy. But still, Yeah, people are coming. They are bringing stuff sometimes to
Yeah,
help.
it doesn't have to be fancy to be good.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
no,
It's really
exactly.
just about spending the time together.
Yeah, the friends are
Um,
coming very often. Yeah.
okay, do you have one or two top resources, books or websites or courses that you could recommend to our listeners? It could be related to your work as an artist or just things that you love in your life.
There is something that I use almost every day, and when I don't, I miss it. I'm gonna sound crazy again, but it's listening to crazy books every day. At least 5 hours a day, I'm listening to a book on Audible. Audible, you say?
Audible, yeah?
Audible, and I listen to everything: dragons fight, police stuff, travel, sport contests, everything from all around the world, every cultures. I need to listen to something 3 5 hours a day minimum to travel when I'm inside here.
While you're working.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the privilege I have. Many hours working with my hands. I can I can travel in my mind. If I
Yeah.
was good enough, I would study new languages, but I'm not good enough. So I'm just traveling, which is good.
Okay.
Yeah. And more materialistic, I have way too many books here. I have a big library next to my apartment, which is terrible. It's forbidden to go there, but I always buy big books of antiques, objects, jewelries from everywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have a lot of books.
I think it's good to have books. Books make good company, so.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, and one last question. What do you do for yourself? Do you have a practice, a focus, a habit, a daily routine? Well, I think you don't have a daily routine. You said you like to not have a daily routine, and maybe that's what you do for yourself. But whether it contributes to your well-being or your success, just
Mm.
anything that you could share.
I don't have any beauty routine, and I should have. I'm aging, so that's something I'm
Aren't we
thinking.
all?
No, I'm gonna do better. So no, I don't have any routine, but I do have a lot of hobbies. I practice a lot of sports because I have to first for my job to be in a good shape. I have to be a little bit muscular.
Yeah.
Carry the wood, send it for hours. My abs are they have to be very good. But I roller skate in Paris. I have
Really?
the old roller skate shoes, and sometimes you can see me at 7 in the morning along the river, La Seine,
Yeah.
and I'm coming and coming back, all sweating, breathing. Even if it's very cold or hot, I don't care as long as it's not raining. Rain is terrible,
Yeah.
and when it's raining, I run. I
Okay.
run. Yeah,
Okay. Roller skating. I would never have
I
guessed.
need to be outside and feel the privilege of being tired. And yeah, tired is good.
Tired is good.
Tired is
This is
good
true.
because moving too much is very good.
Well, is there anything I have not asked you that you would like to share about your work, your life, anything?
Um, the something maybe people know, but I don't know if we talk about making stuff every day is being very lonely. The loneliness, but in a good way. I don't know if in English it's the same word. La solitude
Solitude.
is
Yeah.
solitude. Yeah, is it can be very heavy for people, but it's also a privilege to be with ourselves. Um, makes us feeling very good. We know ourselves well. We have time to think. We have time to breathe.
Yeah.
Silence is something very precious, and what we do is very private. And that's also some, I think, why it's hard to show what we do, because suddenly you're outside with your stuff and people have opinions. it can be terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we can be a little bit shaking sometimes because what we do is kind of what we are.
Yeah.
It's not that easy to show. So when people trust us and like it, take it home, it's a real privilege. And they are bringing something from us, from our home, our brain and heart.
Yeah.
So showing this is very hard, and the everyday life is very lonely and full of solitude, but it's peaceful. It's
Yeah.
very, we are very lucky, I think.
Well, we are very lucky to have you and everything that you create. So thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us today. Thank you, more importantly, for the work that you do. I absolutely love, love, love your work. It makes me feel
Thank
so happy and peaceful, and look forward to continuing to work together for a long time.
you. With pleasure. Thank you very much for all of this. Thank you.
Okay. Au revoir.
Au revoir, à bientôt.
À bientôt.
And I wish you all the best.
Thanks for joining On the Table with Ashley, where we'll meet individuals with thought-provoking perspectives from their varied life experiences and professions. On the Table will cover any topic you or I can put on the table, with the goal of increasing curiosity, respect, and understanding, while decreasing judgment, even when the issues discussed have sharp and contrasting viewpoints. On the Table also bridges to my company, Attend, which has started with the goal of helping people connect more meaningfully through straightforward, skillfully made, bespoke home goods. Check us out at amattendre.com. That's AMEATENDRE.com, or on Instagram at Attend. And if you have ideas for future podcast episodes, shoot us an email at reachoutanytime@amattendre.com. Thanks for listening.